Hello, everyone. I am so excited to have Janet Uribe here with me today. Janet, you are such a trooper. I absolutely love you, and people are going to get to know you today. The way that this started was that Janet wanted to interview me as her mentor, and I switched it up on her. Sorry for the dog barking. This is real. And I switched it up on her. And thank you so much, Janet, for being willing to allow me and trust me to switch this up. I'm going to interview you so that a lot of people on Facebook and in the new groups that you're joining will actually know about you and the growth and the measure and the level of what you have accomplished since I met you. Would you mind just introducing yourself and telling everyone what your first encounter was like when you met me?
Well, my first encounter when I was meeting you was actually via YouTube. I saw you do a healing. I think the man's name was Daryl or Darren. I can't remember his name. He had a heart healing, and I was sitting there in secret in my closet and listening to this on my earphones, thinking I'm not going to wake the household. And I got my own healing at that moment. And I thought, this is really weird. I just felt what that man is going through. I need to meet this woman. So yeah, a colleague of mine set it up for me to meet you. She was saying that Elisa May Deuce from Channeling Eric was having a basically an event in her home with you, and we went. And right as I walked up to the door, you hear about this in stories, knees knocking, like knocking. My knees got all weak and shaky as I went to go open the door. And when I walked in, all I could feel in that entire living room presence was love. And I thought, this is an amazing sensation. And then I remember I sat next to you because I got called up because I was curious to get a healing. I was hoping to get a healing or something. All of this was new to me at that time too. I identified as like an agnostic back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, like probably had been Christian, then probably atheist, and then then agnostic, believing in something. And then I remember coming to sit next to you, and I almost knocked you out this chair. And I had had a headache in the left side of my head for 3 months. That was also impairing my vision. And you just put your hand on me in an act of love and just pulled it out. And I started crying
Yeah.
because I thought, is this really possible? Am I imagining this? Is this something that's within our human capacity? And then I was intrigued because everything that you spoke of in that event, every single word that came out of you resonated with me. It wasn't that I even had to have logic to it or any of it. I didn't even need to reason it. I just thought, whoa, this woman is into something that makes sense to me. And we've all been living very limited and not really aware of what our human capacity is.
That
And
is
that,
so beautiful.
yeah,
Keep
yeah.
going.
So then my first session with you, I go in there and I was combative. Um,
let's say to be gentle, but accurate, that you thought you knew what you needed, and that was that. But I have learned that every single one of us are coming at something thinking we can resolve it or fix it or make it better from a very limited perspective. So go ahead. This is fun.
yeah, it is fun. So basically, I went in there with this fixed mindset of, okay, I'm meeting this lady because I want to heal my epilepsy. I had a epilepsy diagnosis the end of the previous year, and I had been struggling so much. I didn't know, I was just couldn't function. And long, oh my gosh. So I went there and I was just kept saying, all right, I choose to heal my epilepsy. I'm here to heal my epilepsy. I'm here. And then I started verbally saying that to you too. And I think you told me something along the lines of, do you want me to do my job?
Will you allow me to do my job? Will you?
Uh-huh.
Two times. The third time I said that, but I said something else. Do you remember what I said?
No, I don't remember exactly. But
Okay, so on the third time that you said, I want you to heal my epilepsy. That's why I paid you. That's why I scheduled this private session. And I said, so you don't want to heal all five things you've been diagnosed with?
yeah. So
And
the
you went, I'm laying on the bed.
yeah,
You
it
know?
was funny. And then the craziest healing that I got there was I had broken a hip. and it had healed incorrectly. And so you could tell it was a problem when I had my children. It was a problem in my daily life. I just dealt with it. But you helped me heal that. You basically, I think this was the part that just shocked me the most. You brought me down this memory of me breaking the hip and experiencing what felt like neglect, but you described the scene so well, the remote viewing, what had happened, even that it's the first time I swore in front of my dad, that I just was broken down to tears. And it just, catapulted the healing of the hip. It catapulted a healing of a severe dermatitis, of alopecia, of IBS. All of these things just kept happening in the most beautiful ways. And then before I knew it, I went home. I was uncomfortable for 3 days with that hip. But on the third day, I woke up and I was in love with life again.
Mhm.
I was in love with my husband of that time. I was in love with the trees. I was in love with everything. It was a very familiar feeling that I remember having as a child when you go ride your bike and your pigtails are going in the wind and you're free. It felt like that. And I thought, whoa, what else is there? But then, girl, I was also kind of like, that was a really weird experience. I don't know if I'm calling that lady again. There were
And
moments.
the epilepsy disappeared. So
Yeah,
all five things
yeah,
disappeared.
all of it. So there was this moment of vacillation of like, is she good? Is she not good? Am I imagining? Am I not imagining? Did that just happen? There's this self-questioning.
Yeah.
And then finally, before I knew it, I found myself in a surprise divorce. And I went to go see you again. And this time it was like I had made this decision to commit to myself. And it just changed my life. So, girl, I mean, I'm going to cry. Um, you helped me heal these illnesses, which then led to me healing a very toxic relationship I had with my mother. And my mom and I are like super just best friends today. Healing that relationship then led to me getting even more hair somehow. And then, yeah. And then that led to me healing limited beliefs in self, which I'm still working on too, new layers of that. And that led to what, gosh, girl, we've been working together 4 years, I think now. Um, and then that led to me healing my relationship with my ability to create abundance. So I have 10
Oh,
times my income. I know. But then when you look at these external pieces, they still feel kind of external, but it's been feeling like this layer coming further inward and inward and inward. And then all this week, I've been in such an amazing place of gratitude of just looking at my life that I have created since starting to work with you, since saying yes. And I just feel like I'm falling in love with me. I'm healing my relationship with myself. And
yeah.
that's been the most beautiful gift because I'm realizing all of these external pieces stem from me. And it keeps getting cooler. I've also now been revealing my abilities as an intuitive, functioning as an intuitive teacher currently in my world, and also as a mentor and guide. And then, I've now have two businesses, and I've also launched a podcast called Heartful Beings, and it just keeps getting cooler and cooler.
So let me see if I can recap. So you're in trauma, you've got 5 diagnoses of illnesses. You signed up for a workshop, you go, you got a healing from the headache. Second workshop was called Healing Workshop that I did with Elisa Medhouse and her home. And then that's when you got healed from the 5 things. And then there was this scary thing of, do I want to go further? Do I trust this woman? It wasn't about trusting me, it was about trusting you. Do I
Yes.
even want these changes? These changes require a change in my mind. These changes are not so easy to surrender to, right? Because when you're
No.
inviting me to lay down, it's like, no, I need to control. I think I know what's wrong. I think I know. But then I'm just very casually going, you want to let me do my job? You want to let me do my job? Oh, so you don't want to heal all 5 things. You just want to do the epilepsy. And you just lay down on the end of the bed because I didn't have a massage table to scan and do the energy session. So what you're saying is that there comes a point in your life where you may experience a miracle, or you may be in so much trauma that you need a miracle. Spirit will give you that miracle, but then there's a fight. Almost, do I not? Do I trust? Do I not? Do I like her? Do I not? Is she good energy? Is she bad energy? Which one is she? What do I want? And then after that, based on what you're saying, after that, you started healing all of your relationships. One
Absolutely.
relationship fell apart, the relationship with your mother, and especially after she did a session with me. You had already been working with
Oh
me.
my gosh.
She already saw the change. So talk about that.
Oh, the session my mom did with you, girl. My mom had noticed so many changes in me. She was shocked. She noticed that I was interacting with her differently, that I was treating my life completely differently. And, I had been in like a crippled state with all of those illnesses. So those who were closest in my family or my closest friends were watching me do things they had not seen before.
Yeah.
And so that left, I mean, as if it was just my mom who went to go see you. One by one, everyone in my world started to come see you, right? My closest people. But my mother came out of that session with you and she was so much lighter. She was smiling. She was all tears. And we had this forgiveness moment with each other on the couch. And then it's never been the same again.
So you healed your relationship with your mother because you shifted.
Yeah.
And then you started healing your relationship with money and abundance.
Yeah.
And then I remember you being in my home one day and you had this really big breakthrough. It was because of a life and breakthrough transformation, right?
Yes, girl.
And you tell about that. That's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
So I had already had some healing from the alopecia when I met you the first time, a certain degree of it, right? And then I was on your couch, I'd lost a ton of hair again, and we were talking about this deep pain that I had around self-worth and value, which was related to my childhood with my mother. By the way, my mom's cool with me talking about this today because we've both done so much healing together.
Yes.
And so when I was little, she pulled me from my hair and it made me believe that I wasn't valuable or worthy. And what was fascinating is that we were on the couch and I just felt this weight leaving every area of my body. And you told me, I just heard that you're about to 10 times your income. And immediately I thought, that sounds crazy. But that year I did. I 10 times my income. Incredible.
And it was within a very short period
Yeah,
of time.
I think I basically got home and within a week or two had 7 times my income. And the
Wow.
10 times happened almost immediately afterwards.
Yeah, it was within weeks. And then the other wild, cool thing about you is once you healed your relationship with money, whenever you come to me and you pay for a life and breakthrough transformation or an OST thing, the money comes back.
Yeah, pretty much immediately.
Isn't that amazing?
I even
So
went shopping with you the other day while you
yeah,
were here doing transformation from work for me. Okay. And I've learned from Tammy, you just watch it come in and go. It cycles. You attract it. And I spent a very large amount of money on a new wardrobe because I'm about to start filming some videos. And that money came in within less than 48 hours.
yeah.
And I not just that money, more than that money.
So you've learned that you can't outspend God, spirit, universe. You
No, you
can't
can't.
outspend it.
And so oh my gosh, I love that you're saying that too, because something when people ask me about, well, who's your mentor? What do you do? Well, I'm curious. I think I might like to work with her. And they'll say, what is the offer? Right? What is the offer? And I think it's such a fascinating question because I think we've grown up in this market where we're taught like understand what your offer is, what's your exchange, what are you going to have? How the hell can you know what God has to offer you?
Well, again, back to you're coming at it from a limited perspective, or you wouldn't be in a limited perspective life.
Absolutely. And so learning that from you has been golden because I think that's not even just applied to the finances, right? It's in every single session I have with you. I come at you I'm like, listen, I see this area that I'm struggling with right now. And you go 50 layers deeper about what it really is about, whereas this is just a tiny little symptom. But then I get to see every single pattern where that applies to my life. And pragmatically, that might be me saying, look, I am having this adverse moment with this friend or this family member. And you say, and I'm saying, I think it's because, I'm ready. I think it's because I'm ready to do some healing around that person. And then most recently, it was about, no, you're just out of balance with what you're actually witnessing of what you give and receive. And it's in every area of your life. And I thought, whoa, that's way more accurate than what I was seeing with my limited view.
Well, I think you're answering the question that people come to you about, and that is all that you're talking about is transformation.
Absolutely.
You've had one transformation after another transformation after another transformation after another, and it's much better being on the side, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, it's so lighter. It's also so much more loving, accepting, embracing. It's growth, it's freedom. It's the pigtails while you're on your bike going free or skinny
Now you're
dipping.
engaged and you
Okay.
found
Uh-huh. I'm also, look, guys. Yes, I'm also engaged to this incredible man who meets the very needs I knew that I was having for years and didn't honor them for myself. So as I've been starting to learn to honor them for myself, which is this is something that this masterful teacher Tammy teaches me, is what does it look like to honor yourself? That is who I'm attracting into my life now. To
yes, and you
honor.
almost ran a few times,
Yes, I almost sabotaged it at least 3 or 4 times, maybe more.
but thankfully you
No.
would get centered and realize that you just needed some help. Would you say that everybody needs help, Janet? How would you talk about this?
I don't think that everyone wants help.
That's more accurate.
Yeah, I think the thing is when there was a version of me some years ago when I first met you, and I thought everyone needs this. And more pragmatically and groundedly, I know that through watching you through example and your teachings, and now staying more in my own lane, because I used to want to get in everyone's lane.
Yep.
I was really good at not minding my own business. Um, I've discovered repeatedly that there are simply some people who are committed to the story of where they are. And I even have moments like that where I'm committed to the story of where I am. And until I decide that I want to change it and I want to feel something different and I want to feel free from something, sometimes I may want it and still not want to commit to that transformation. But for me personally, I'll notice that it has to get bumpy enough, adverse enough chaos built into it, painful enough for me to finally say, okay, I'm going to go see Tammy. Um, I'll call her. I'll say, right. But watching my own self, even I was on your couch earlier this year, and we were right there on the precipice of a huge breakthrough, massive. And I looked at you and you're like, what do you want? And I said, well, this is going to sound really crazy, but it's almost like I want to go back into that other room and take another hit.
Because it is an addiction
Yeah.
to drama, right?
Yeah. Of the old story. And for me, guys, I'm not actually addicted to like substances or drugs, but
No,
chaos. Right. And
less
so,
than.
yeah, absolutely. And so these pieces, girl, are what have just been phenomenal for me. I'm just in such a state of gratitude to you all the time. I think of you often and think, whoa, that lady helped me get here. And I love that you guide me to do this work. It's not a codependent scenario. It's not, you need me. Our conversations are so different present day from where we started because you leave me hanging in the most perfect place for me to do my own work. And it's not even a hanging because you gave me all of these tools along the way to know how to do it. And so thank you for empowering me to get to these places. And I'm really excited to see you this weekend. Again, by the way, I don't know for those of you who know or don't know Tammy, she's going to be in Austin, Texas, ATX, doing this amazing workshop called Older Souls Unleashed. I'm crying still. Um, and at last year's workshop, there were miracles, there were healings, there were integrations, there were breakthroughs. Um, there were tears of release. I mean, oh my gosh, girl. And so I've been jumping on some of my little friends threads and be like, who's coming? And for those that don't know you, I've been basically telling them, it's kind of like Esther Hicks and Teal Swan type of concepts, but way more progressive and evolved. And more so, they are pragmatically presented for you to work with. It is live healings and also live integration. I think that's the big thing I haven't seen with a lot of teachers, even though they may have these capacities in one-on-ones. Um, but with you, girl, the live pragmatic healing and integration is the gold, because I walk out of there and I know more about who I am, and I know that I've released something and let it go, or healed something or grown in something, and I find more layers of myself, and that's golden. That's the gold.
You have gone through a really beautiful process of transforming one thing at a time, but impacting every single thing in your life.
Yeah.
And now your family and your friends are looking at you and going, what is beautiful for me, I was just in your home last week after working with you for half of a day. What was beautiful is watching your family and them coming up to me, and I'll start crying, just saying, thank you for what you've done in her life. I feel like all I'm doing is just bringing people home to themselves and saying, look at you. You're brilliant. You're beautiful. Let me help you transition to owning it.
Yeah.
Because to me, working with older souls that don't even know they're older souls, they don't even know they are. I'm connecting them to all the pieces of the puzzles in their lives. And then we decide what new puzzle we want to create and manifest.
Oh my gosh, it's so accurate. So accurate. And then, girl, there's moments where I have come to you with something that I wanted, and then you blow my mind and say, that's not what you want.
So
Because you're
let me explain
my
that for those of you
yeah.
that wonder what this is. I'm reading the subconscious, the superconscious, and the conscious mind all at the same time. So a lot of times I instigate clients like you by asking questions or say, how can I serve you? That's the very first thing I usually say, especially in mentoring or in the OST tribe. How can I serve you? Because I do feel like I'm the follower of the person that I'm working with. So when I ask you guys something, or when you bring to me how you think I can be of service, I'm like, that's not what I just heard. It's much bigger than that, because again, we keep thinking from a limited perspective. So unless you have someone that really sees you, that holds that space for you and goes, you've got this, and this is not what I'm hearing your spirit tell me, and your subconscious is telling me this, and this is why you're blocked. Unless you have somebody doing that, it's almost near impossible to make real transformation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I'll be honest, I think that you've done it for me so many times. I think there's a certain level of depth with which you can read us that's so true and pure and loving
Mm.
that in a way I have felt more exposed. So as
Yes.
yeah, right. And so because I have felt more exposed, I also feel more free, because it's almost like, well, she can see what I look like without my clothes on anyway. So we might as well really do this up big anyway.
I don't do that, guys. I don't look through your clothes.
She really doesn't. But the idea being, you're seeing pieces of me that I have removed from myself or separated from myself, and being reacquainted with them through such a gentle question sometimes. And it's much more profound than the Socratic method, guys. If you, those of you who are familiar with that, it's so much deeper, intimate, precise, loving, accurate, um, that you feel like you're being held by your mama's arms. And if you don't have a good relationship with your mama, then God's arms. I don't know. You pick what you want to describe it as, but it's the most loving environment I've ever been in. And feeling that kind of love has forced me in the most beautiful way to really start to love myself. And now I've been choosing to love myself. Yeah.
It's truly for me. you're the reason, and clients like you, that I keep doing what I do, because I want people to get on the playground with me. And love, that playground is love. And if you don't love yourself, it's really difficult to try to love other people, because if you don't understand self-love, then you're going to have a hard time seeing somebody else as unconditional love. That's one of the things that I've seen you really transition in, is understanding self-love. To me, this is the highest mastery that we can possibly go through. There isn't anything more in this realm that I understand. With everything that I've been taught by spirit, self-love is the biggest mastery,
Yeah.
because that self-love turns you to really loving others, not having judgment, not having opinions about other people, allowing, surrendering, and all of the things that go with it. It's so beautiful. Is there anything that you would like to share or even ask me before we go?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, there's this massive gathering of excitement happening in Austin, Texas, and I hope other people will join us for it, guys. I love strangers, and there will be people from Alaska, from California, from all over the country coming to Austin, Texas this weekend. It's November 3rd through the 5th to join us to have an Older Souls Unleashed workshop. You can go find that at oldersoulstribe.com, by the way. But I would like to ask you this. What is next for you? What is a personal message that you might have to share with us? Because I know one of the cool things that you do that other people don't do is if someone goes and signs up for your email list, they get a free message, which I think is so cool. Because by the way, guys, if you see what it costs to get an hour with this lady, it's an investment, but it's the best investment you ever make. But I think it's really sweet that you do that. I think it's really genuine and intimate. So I'm curious if you do have a personal message that you might want to share with us.
I have been going through a very big transformation myself this year, and I was homeless for a while, and then finally getting to the place to where you see this beautiful space behind me. I manifested that without even having the money to manifest it last year. So I teach alchemy techniques, conscious alchemy, to manifest. There's a new class that I'm going to be offering around the first of next year, 2024, where I'm actually talking about your top 5 clairs or your superpowers, and then helping you to understand how you naturally communicate in the physical, in the spiritual, in the conscious world, how you communicate. The more that you know about yourself, the easier your journey is going to be, because then you'll understand, hey, I can get that answer because I have clairvoyance, or I have clairaudience, which is behind the ear, or I have these things. For me, being able to manifest this space meant I'm about to really get started. I'm about to rise myself. And in that, there's been so many things that have happened this year, from getting my own app, which I'm not even promoting yet. It's called Older Souls Tribe if you want to go, but I'm not even promoting it because there's so much more content I want to put. Understanding what it is that I have to offer, coming clean with all of the wisdom and what I've been taught and what I've learned from clients and what I've learned during sessions. A lot of my wisdom has come from sessions, and it's coming in for another client, but it relates to me. And in healing myself, I can stand there and hold that for other people. So I've created this Older Souls Tribe, which makes me feel not alone, which you're a part of. So when Spirit asked me to do this, after I said, I'm custom ordering my home, I want a gourmet kitchen, I want a porch, which I have right outside there, I'm facing the gourmet kitchen. When I placed that order, I didn't have any idea how this could come. And then very soon afterwards, the 65 signs, put your relationship book on the side, do the 65 signs, get an Older Souls Tribe, start this journey, get people together. It's making me feel not so alone. And it's making me feel supported, because I'm seeing other like-minded beings, because I'm always about growth. I'm always about expansion. I'm always about offering more. And now I'm starting to realize I have a really good tool chest of material that I'm really going to start launching. But having my own home and the security and not even knowing how I'm going to pay the house payments, I'm telling you, but it comes every single month. It's like when you have a good relationship with money, when you heal that, money comes. So for me, it's doing more that will collect the people who feel like misfits, the freaks, the unicorns, they know enough to get themselves into trouble, but they just need a hand. And also, just to let you know this, Janet, I hire coaches, I hire mentors. I have two of them right now. So
Yeah.
that holds space for me that are further down the journey of success in business and offering and speaking that truth. It's just this beautiful symbiotic playground that I'm on where I'm like, come to me or run from me. But if you really, that something is off, I have my hand raised just to help guide you home to you. That's
Yeah,
it.
girl. There's so much I'm impressed about you. Well, your 65 Signs You're an Older Soul book was one of my favorites, which, by the way, if you don't have it, check it out. It's a really great interactive way with self for you to really start identifying pieces that you were there the whole time you didn't know about. I think you have a quiz too. Am I wrong? You have a quiz?
I have a quiz for older souls, and if people sign up for my email, then they get to ask me one question they most want to know, and I'll answer them as an intuitive, which is what you said. And I'm
Yeah.
also giving out the older souls quiz so that you will know.
Yeah.
It's really cool because you answer somewhat, sometimes, most of the time, whatever, and then it gives you a tally at the end. I think that there's a convergence of older souls getting to be with each other so that none of us will really feel alone. And then we'll all be able to honor that need that really drives every single thing that we do is growth and expansion. We don't like being stuck.
Oh my gosh, girl. That is that's making me smile a lot because most of the people who entered my world in the last year, older souls, I work with like 60 to 80 kids a year too. Almost all of them are older souls.
Yeah.
It is wild. And if you don't know if you're an older soul, guys, we'd have to have a whole other interview for us to talk about that. You just need to go get the quiz or the book because it's awesome.
Thank you so much. And there's another book that now I understand is way too big about spiritual codependency and what love is and how to have healthy boundaries, which really aren't boundaries. It's self-nurturing. That is going to be cut into a series. And that's why it's not out on the market yet, because I understand I gotta change the whole concept of it. But that's about older souls too.
You
So
know,
there's more that's coming.
when that book comes out, so guys, I love Tammy. I work with her a lot, so I got to be privy to one of those chapters of the book. And I think you let me see it some time ago. When I read that chapter, it is it was so evoking of ownership of who we are, what we're here to do, and what we create that I immediately started to go tidy up my whole life. So
Just from that one chapter.
just from that one chapter because it
Wow.
resonated with me something where working with children and I constantly say we leave this to the children, like it's our role to guide them, to show them, to lead for them, to show them how to do that. um that it made me take such a level of accountability, ownership, and a closer microscope to my life that yeah, it scooted my butt for a good few months. And I've kind of maintained that momentum since then. I'm the most organized I've been ever in my life and committed and so on, more so than ever before from one chapter.
I think that was spiritual codependency, right?
Yes.
I think that's what it was. I think that's chapter 2. Well, it's probably going to be its own little separate book with different chapters describing this. So
Yeah.
um, it's very cool. Janet, I cannot tell you what a privilege it is to watch you grow and to help instigate that and hold space for you and see what you can't see yet.
Mhm.
And then ignite and stimulate and instigate and segue you to becoming whole, because what you and everyone that may be drawn to even hear this don't know yet is you are much bigger than you think. Sometimes you just need a hand of somebody holding that space and saying, you've got this. My mentor this morning did that for me. One of my coaches that I've hired, she just spontaneously gave me a voice thing, which, you know, I do to people that I work with consistently. I may text you and say, Janet, take some time off, please. Would you consider this?
Uh-huh. Actually, one of my cutest things that you did for me some time ago, we had this freeze where we couldn't go anywhere for about 7 days. We lost power, water, like the toilet water was frozen. My Tempur-Pedic bed was frozen solid like a table. And you had told me 2 weeks earlier, just real casually in passing, hey, honey, go pick up a couple weeks worth of water and 10 days worth of water and food. And I did. I'm so thankful. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Thank God you did.
Yeah.
And you were like, why? And I said, I don't know. I'm being told to do this. You're going to need it.
Yeah.
So
So I
consider
bought
doing it.
tons and I shared with my neighbors. But yeah, there's just so many little insights that you've given me about what to do or just a little nudge. And Tammy, I'm so thankful just to know where I started to where I am today. And I know there's more. I'm just so thankful, my friend.
There's more, honey.
I'm just so
Let's go
thankful.
to the more.
Yeah, we're there. We're working it. Look, it's already in its creation right now. The little seeds, right? That get
Yeah,
so
when I look at you, every single thing in your life has changed. Your
yeah.
relationship with your kids, your relationship with your mother, your relationship with money, your relationship with who you live with right now and who you're about to marry. And
Yeah.
I want to say thank you that you want me to be that officiate. It's just Spirit told me first, and then you told me.
Uh-huh.
And when Spirit tells me things like that, Janet wants you to officiate at her wedding, I'll say yes or no. Of course, I said yes. And then the person will come to me and bring that to me after I say yes. Isn't that amazing?
Girl, everything with you is amazing. Every time I think,
You're
dang.
amazing. You're amazing. And so is everybody else that's listening. You just don't know how big you are. So thank you so much for this time, for letting me sit with you for a few minutes. And I know this is going to change your life because you're talking about it.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Just acknowledging it always moves it way bigger and faster.
Absolutely.
I don't even know how to thank you, girl. I'm gonna make you a cake the next time you're in town.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a few days. And all of you who may be interested, come on, this is a hug fest. It's intense. We laugh, we cry, we laugh. There's healing, there's transformation, and hugs.
Oh my gosh, and maybe cake this time.
Oh my goodness. She made me some cookies one time for my birthday. Do we dare say what kind of cookies you gave me? And I gave them to my grandkids. It's because you brought them.
You
You brought
can. I think there's a way. I think you have to call them novelty cookies.
them. They were in the certain shape of a body part of a man. And I ended up giving these cookies to my grandkids because you brought them to Greenville.
They were
And my
dressed
kids
up
were
too.
like, this is a, and I was like, yeah, and you get to eat it.
Yeah, you'll have to come to the workshop if you want to see them.
That's another incentive, right?
Exactly.
I love it. I love you, Janet. Thank
All
you
right.
so
I
much,
love you,
honey.
doll. Have a good
Okay.
day.
I'll see you. Bye.
Bye.